let theta be a quadrant 2 angle with sine theta equaling square root of 94 over 10. We want to find sine of theta over 2. So let's go ahead and use the half angle formula, which is going to be plus or minus the square root of 1. The sine one is minus, and it's going to be cosine theta over 2. So in order to find what we need cosine theta. Well, I was given sine theta, and then I also need to be able to determine the plus or minus. And so let's first of all think about if theta is in quadrant 2. So if I have an angle here in quadrant 2 and I divide it in half, what quadrant will I be in? Well, let's think about angles in quadrant 2. Angles in quadrant 2 are between pi over 2 and pi. So if I divide it in half to have theta over 2, I would divide everything in half, and I would have an angle between pi fourths and pi halves. So I know I want the positive, because angles between pi fourths and pi halves, everything's positive in quadrant 1, but so the sign there would also be positive. All right, now that I know the sign, I still need to figure out 1 minus, I need cosine theta. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, it said it was in quadrant 2 there, so I'm going to make a triangle in quadrant 2, and I'm going to label it such that opposite over hypotenuse, which is sine, would give me the square root of 94 over 10. So opposite square root 94, hypotenuse 10. Now with that, I could figure out this side right here, and then if I figured out that side right there, then I can use that to find cosine theta, which is exactly what I need to do to answer this. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use Pythagorean theorem, and we have the square root of 94 squared plus x squared would equal 10 squared. So x squared is going to be 100 minus 94, or 6. So x is going to be square root of 6. But because I'm in quadrant 2, I'm going to label that as a negative square root of 6, since x values are negative in quadrant 2. So cosine of theta is going to be adjacent. So that's going to make that a positive, having those two negatives, over hypotenuse, which is 10. And then for our formula, that whole thing is over 2. Now you can enter this as your answer, or you can put it in a calculator and then make sure you round, carrying it at least 4 places.